Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are in my milk room. We are gonna go over what is in my kidding kit. First of all, I want to start with why a kidding kit is important. You know, not every breeder out there is going to always try to be with their does. Some like to let them kid out naturally and whatever happens, happens. And for those breeders that do that, that's perfectly fine. For me, I feel like I'm not being my best self and the best breeder that I want to be unless I am there for at least 95% of them. If I can help their births go smoother and be more successful and have our kids come out healthier and stronger, then I'm going to do that. And I feel like being there and being prepared is how we go about doing that. So the kidding kit is just all of the necessary things that you should have right on hand as your does are kidding and you're out there with them, you know, helping them to deliver. So I just use this little tote here. I got it from Walmart. So, and it's super light, super easy to carry. You know, you can move it however you need to. And one of the most important thing are towels. Cheap towels, old towels, you know, whatever you can get to use. This is going to help you get your kids dry, and you know, if you are where it's cold or if it is very drafty in your barn or your kidding area, then you're going to want to get those kids dried off as soon as possible to prevent things, you know, like a chilled kid, that body starts to shut down. You know, we want to get those kids warm up, eating as soon as possible. So, towels, big thing. All right, and let's see. Bulb sucker. We want to get all of the fluids out of the air passageways as quickly as they come out. So you will see me when I'm doing my kidding. I use this in their mouth and their nostrils, both nostrils, just to get out as much of that fluid as possible so they're not aspirating on it. Bulb sucker, you know, this is just one that I had for my daughter when she was born. So, you know, you don't have to have a special livestock one or anything. You can just repurpose one or, you know, find one in the baby section. Okay, so your next important thing is going to be your digital thermometer. You want to make sure that your kids are the proper temperature before you feed them. 101.5 is the temperature that you're aiming for. If your kids are acting lethargic or, you know, they're not wanting to suck, many times it can be because their temperature is starting to get too low. So you always want to make sure you have this on hand. Digital thermometers, I mean, if you're going to have goats, you need a digital thermometer. You know, so many problems with goats affect their temperature, you know, whether it gets higher or lower. So, you know, any medical supply needs one of these thermometers. It's not just important for your kidding. You want to have it for your, you know, regular maintenance too. Next would be scissors. These are actually paramedic shears that I got from my stepdad many years ago. But, you know, any very sharp scissors will do. I use this to mainly cut umbilical cords, to shorten them up, just so they're not, sometimes when they break away, they will drag the ground. You want to keep your kids' umbilical cords off of the dirt and out of the bacteria. so it's not introducing those pathogens into the body. Because until the umbilical cord dries, it's pretty easy, it's kind of like an open wound. It's pretty easy for bacteria to get in that way. So I usually cut mine to about like an inch or so. Anything longer than that, I just, clip off and dispose of. But, scissors, you never know when you might need scissors for anything else under the sun too. So it's always good to have those on hand. And speaking of umbilical cords, let's see, iodine. You want to dip your kids' umbilical cords in iodine shortly after birth, so it helps to dry up. It helps to prevent that bacteria from getting in. I have little bitty cups. These are just the little cups that you get with, regular human medicine. And I just put a little bit in there, dip the navel into it, and that's, all you've got to do. And that helps prevent some sickness from your kids. Okay, and then we have nitrile gloves. I like the nitrile gloves above like the OB gloves or, the livestock gloves, the really big ones that go all the way up your arm. These are nice and tight and up against your body, so it feels more like your bare hand. If you have to go in and reposition kids inside of a dough, you want that real feel. Those OB gloves tend to be, much too big, and it's hard to tell what you're doing if you can't feel everything. So that's why I like these tight-fitting nitrile gloves. They have no latex, no powder, nothing is getting inside of the dough. And then, let's see, we have lube. Lube, if you have to go inside of a dough, you want to be nice and lubed up. That way there's less resistance going in, and you can move those kids however you need to and get them out quicker. Sure, you can use the fluid that is in the dough, but if you can have some help, why not? So this is just a little bottle that I keep in my kit. I also keep a large container of it. I can refill my small container when I need to. This can also be used for ultrasound jelly. So, it's less abrasive than like if you were to use hand sanitizer. And so it helps your ultrasound machines last longer, your probes. It's not, wear and tearing on them as much. And also the lube is good for doing AI, artificial insemination. And that is something that I hope to get started with this year. So that's why I went on ahead and got the big jug. It's gonna come in handy. All right. So next we have Kelly's Kid Puller. This is in case you have to go in and reposition a kid who's got its head back or like one leg stuck way back, and you really need to get both hands inside of the dough, but there's not enough room inside of the dough for both of your hands. That's just the fact of the matter. So you put this around them, you can pull it tight, and you can use this as one of your other hands while you have the other hand in, repositioning that kid. This is going to keep what you've already got coming out from slipping back. And I'll put in the description below the link to buy the Kelly's Kid Puller. This is the one that is most recommended by every breeder I have ever spoke to about it. It's really nice. It's smaller than most of the livestock pullers, so it's more fitted for goats. Small breeds even And you know, the shipping was super quick on it. I got it within the week that I ordered it, and that was awesome to me because I was worried I wasn't going to get it before kidding season started. You know, it's something that you're not gonna hardly ever use. You know, I have up until this point never had to use a kid puller, but there's always that one time. And if you don't have it, you know, what are you gonna do? So better get it ahead of time than be sorry later. And it's really cool. Like, it comes with this little pamphlet, you know, with the directions on how to use it and everything. So I'm very happy with this purchase, and I'm glad that I have that, you know, safety. And it's less of a worry for me now in case I ever do need it. Speaking of things that you may never need, gravity tube feeding. You know, there's different ways to go about tube feeding. This is the one that I bought. Again, I've never had to use it, but there's always that one chance that you're going to have a weak kid and it's not going to have a suck reflex, even though you've got it warmed up. But you got to get that colostrum into that baby. So, you know, you have to put the tube down into their throat and down into, you know, the stomach. You put your colostrum in here and gravity just does the work. It just goes right into the kid through the straw. So that's another thing I keep in my kid kit, even though I've never had to use it. Better safe than sorry. That is my motto when it comes to kidding. So let's see. Moving on to just a few little things that I have for my own sanity. I have a sling and a scale. I can weigh my kids as soon as they are born. You know, obviously that's not necessary. It's just something that I like to do. I like to know the starting point with my kids and make sure they are gaining as they should. You know, kids should gain about a half a pound to a pound every day, depending on, you know, your breed and how strong the kid is and how old the kid is, you know. So I like having this for that. And then a new thing that I've started doing this year is I bought me a planner, and it is really nice because I can have on the individual month, let's see, let me find one. All right, so this is for February. You can see I've got my due dates written down, and then there is also a weekly view in this planner. So like last week when Cammie had her boys on the 25th, I'm able to write down that information as well. And I can write down, you know, who kidded, their tattoo number, what they look like, their weight, any information that I think I'm going to need. And I can keep this with me in my kit. I can go back to it anytime that I need to. I know that I have all of that information down before, you know, things happen and you slip up and forget something. You know, it's good to keep as good of records as you possibly can. And that's something that I have struggled with. So I'm really happy to have this in my kidding kit this year as an addition. And it has already come in handy. I'm so glad that I decided to make this purchase this year. All right. And last but not least, something that I realized that I needed to keep in my kidding kit after last week's fiasco. You know, after I was not prepared at all, is a protein bar. You know, I was about to fall out there trying to help Cammie because I hadn't eaten all that morning. You know, I was sick, so I was feeling really, really bad. So I got Dylan to get me a protein bar, ate about half of it before the kids started coming, and it got me through. So I now will always keep a protein bar in my kitting kit because you never know when you're going to need it. Alright guys, so that is everything in my kitting kit currently. These are the things that I recommend and I keep near and dear. So, you know, what do you think? I mean, are there things that you think that I missed? Is there any recommendations that you have, things that you keep in your own kitting kit? I would honestly love to know, you know, because I'm always for learning. You know, this is my 6th year doing this, so by no means do I call myself an expert, and, you know, I'm always up to learn more. So if you have any recommendations or suggestions, let me know.